Moro kutoka saa 1 mpaka usiku.
Now, aside from politics, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission officers on Sunday managed to nab the OCS of Ruai Police Station, Duncan Otieng, for allegedly demanding bribes from 4 suspects who were arrested and taken to the station. Now, the police boss is currently detained at the Kilimani police station. He will be arraigned in court this week. Now, on matters law, the legal fraternity in the country is now demanding that the penalties meted on fake lawyers be made strict, as there seems to be a proliferation of in the allied profession. Now, the lawyers say fake lawyers are putting the lives and livelihoods of Kenyans at risk by providing legal services without certification by the Law Society of Kenya. The lawyers also claim that the increase of cases of fake lawyers will degrade profession.
There are people who want to get money without the qualification, and that is absolutely wrong. They should be imprisoned, charged and imprisoned, so that the others will be deterred.
We as lawyers owe a duty to the public who we serve to tell them who is a lawyer and who is not a lawyer. And you can say that I can say quacks have always been in existence, but lawyers have not come out to tell people that these are quacks.
If you're there and you're pretending to be an advocate, especially clerks who have been laid off or retired, and they have said, even the other day we arrested a civil servant who has now decided to pretend she's an advocate, yet she was a former chief.
The president of the Law Society of Kenya has been very deliberate. He has started a crackdown on the quacks. The same is also being replicated at all the 8 branches of the Law Society of Kenya.
You will need for more stiffer penalties for anybody who impersonates as an advocate or who assumes to practice as an advocate when they are not. That way, that will be a deterrent such that the penalties currently prescribed in law, they are not stiff enough to address these concerns.
Now, a donor from the United States has appealed to the Kenyan justice system to help her recover a children's home and school that she was cornered by a Naivasha-based bishop. Sherry Gonzalez detailed that she started a non-profit organization in 2016 and traveled to Kenya a year later to start an education center for needy and vulnerable children. It was while in Kenya that she met a bishop ministering at Oasis Grace in Naivasha who promised to help her set up the school. Now, the Sherry's Education Center located at Karagita, Naivasha, was started with the sole purpose of ensuring that vulnerable students are in school while undergoing puberty. Now, Sherry claims that she hired Abiud Masinde as the director, but later on realized that he was sending her forged documents to show that he owns, or rather she owns, the school. It was in 2020 that Sherry realized that she had been conned and the children's home was registered under the bishop, and ever since she has been trying to get her school back. Now, Bishop Mark Kariuki has advocated for reintroduction of corporal punishment in schools to instill discipline in learners. Now, the bishop expressed concerns over the low morals. The bishop was speaking during the 4th annual general meeting, that is AGM, for Koelel High School alumni that was held in Naivasha.
It's important to note that in our days, this discipline was far much higher than it is today. And part of that came because of the corporal punishment that we got. I must say it must have been a mistake to remove corporal punishment. We need to rethink on how to instill discipline in our children. It is crucial, because without discipline, that's where things go haywire, and we've got to shape our children. If you spare the rod, you spoil the child. That's what the scriptures say. We need to bring in the religious education into our system, back into our religious, into our system, educational system, because when the foundation is good, the child will stand. When the foundation is shaky, and then the social media comes in, our children are flabbergasted. They find themselves confused. But we need to bring in religious studies back to school. In every school, we need a chaplain. We need a chaplain who would be in charge of the morals of the students. That would help us a lot. Let's have people who will teach them the word of God, the Bible, so that they are founded and grounded on the
Now, a church in South Africa has made the headlines after a robbery happened live when a service was ongoing. Now, the pastor and the congregants of the Church of Pentecost in South Africa found themselves in a very awkward position after thugs busted into the church while the preacher was preaching and held everyone at gunpoint while robbing them of their valuables.
Successful people in life, and what there are some key principles here on the bopra. Na oh yes sir.
Now taking a quick look on today's dailies, starting with the Standard right here. Experts say how not to bring down cost of living. Now, interestingly, economy experts fold the president's approach to taxation and cost of living, saying the policies will only sink the country deeper in mire and push many to avoid paying taxes, which will ultimately make life unbearable. That is the Standard right there. Looking at what economy experts say, and a quick one on what their point of view is. A state must look beyond austerity, excessive taxes to boost economy. Raising taxes and cutting spending opens, or rather often slows down economic recovery by reducing household spending power and consumer confidence. Now, this can exacerbate unemployment and cause problems for those relying on social programs, thus eroding public trust in state institutions. Now that is an interesting one right there. And just taking a quick one in numbers, increase in poverty rate in Kenya in 2020 from 43% in 2019 according to the World Bank. That is from 2019 to 2023 right here where we are. Poverty rate has increased up to 46%, meaning it has increased by 3%. Now, 2.6 million, that is Kenyans who sank into poverty in 2020, the first year of the COVID-19 pandemic. That is 2.6 million Kenyans who are affected. Now, 4.4 million, that is the Kenyans facing high level of acute food security, with about 3.6 million people being in integrated food security phase classification. Now that is interesting right there, 4.4 million Kenyans. Then 14.3 million Kenyans facing food poverty according to IPC analysis, up from 12.5 million in 2022. Barely 1 year, more than 4 million Kenyans are now facing food poverty. Now basically that is what the experts say, that the increase in taxation might not bring the cost of living down. Now it will be wise for President William Ruto to revise the taxation measures being put in place to ensure that people are encouraged to pay tax and reduce the cost of living. Now the winners and losers as dialogue team wraps up. Remember, today they shall be meeting different groups to discuss on how to reduce the cost of living before proceeding to write their report and present them to Azimio leader Raila Odinga, President William Ruto, and the two houses, that is the Senate and the National Assembly. Now, NEP leaders call for help amid flooding, that is northeastern leaders. Now, whereas the current rains have been downgraded from the El Nino type for northeastern, they are causing a humanitarian crisis. Remember, over the past few days, the rains have been really causing havoc in different parts of the country, specifically the northeastern part, and also coast Mombasa to be specific. Remember the other day, Meru County, one person was left dead after the heavy rains washed them away. Now, basically that is how today's the Standard looks like. But quick one, IBC reforms versus right of representation. At least 7 regions are scheduled to hold by-elections. Now, however, without a fully constituted electoral commission, Kenyans in this place go without a fundamental right. Basically, that is what will be happening, and the pictures right there, as you can see them, that is MP Kulo Hassan, Maalim, March 29, 2023, Banisa, Member of Parliament, United Democratic Movement, Gideon Kavu, August 2023, Machakos Mumboni North Ward MCA. These are some of the seats that will be, or rather are open for people to vie, and by-elections are supposed to happen in these specific places. Constantine Shungula, that is August 25th, 2023, Taita Taveta nominated member of County Assembly. Stephen Maloba, April 1st, 2023, Kakamega Ward, Kisa East MCA, and Dennis Kebaso, together with Elijah Osiemo. Some of the seats that are supposed to be filled in, and remember, the country doesn't have a fully constituted IEBC, the Electoral Commission. Now, how will this affect the specific locations? We shall also be taking a look on that later on during the State of the Nation. And a quick one on today's Daily Nation, the best 150 members of Parliament. Remember, bursaries, school infrastructure, water, roads, and electricity connections cited by voters, basically according to a report right here. And some of the leading members of Parliament, Kiharu, Member of Parliament, Nyoro Ndindi, we have Kangema Peter Irungu, we have Igembe South, Muirigi John Paul. Remember, during the 2017 elections, he was actually the youngest member of Parliament right there, and is now leading at 66%. We have Mwingi Central MP Gideon Mutemi, Huisero Christopher Asemi, basically some of the leading members of Parliament, all the way to Kibwezi East, Mutuse Commerce, and some of the leading, actually it is only one female leading member of Parliament who's been highlighted right there, as you can see, Samburu West, Lesuda Naisula. And also, the TikToker member of Parliament, as they call him, Salasia Peter, is also leading at Mumias East at 64%. It's quite interesting. As you can see, these are still some of the youngest member of Parliament. Mwala member of Parliament, Vincent Musyoka, is still young. Mumias East, Salasia is still equally young. Igembe South, Muregi John Paul. These are some of the young MPs, and they're really doing a good job according to this specific report right here. And the majority of Kenyans think MPs have performed well since they were elected into office last August, with Kiharu, Member of Parliament, Ndindi Nyoro, as you can see right there, his picture is quite large. Kiharu topping the charts according to a new Infotrack poll. But what have the legislators done to rank highly? Now, basically highlighting some of the best members of Parliament. Shifting to Meru County, Kawira's moment of truth as Senate decides her fate. Now, in Battle Meru, Governor Kawira Mwangaza is facing a make or break week at the Senate as her two-day impeachment trial starts tomorrow, that is on Tuesday. Now, will Kawira Mwangaza really go home this time round? You know, the Meru politics have really taken center stage in the country for the past 1 year since she got into power. This has been the second impeachment attempt. Remember, the first one, the MCS impeached her, but then the Senate saved her. This time round, will the Senate save Mwangaza? Remember, many, especially from the political class, have been raising these issues, and a section of women in Meru County think that this is just a witch hunt because she is a female governor, which many men, or rather the male politicians and counterparts, don't really agree to being led by a female governor. Now, we're also waiting to see how that would go, along with matters impeaching her this time round. And the weatherman now warns of heavy rains in the country. Now, the weatherman has warned Kenyans to brace themselves for more heavy rains for the next 3 months, warning of flooding and landslides in several parts of the country. Remember, even after El Nino claims were withdrawn, now they still told us that you still have to ensure the guard is up there, making sure that you are staying watchful because the rains will be there. And now we have the rains raining in different parts of the country, especially Ukambani. Now many are saying they're ready to plant, but then in parts of northeastern Mombasa and a few other areas, the rains have really been too much, that is heavy, causing floods. Now, UK envoy, we are open to talks on reparations. The United Kingdom is open for discussions with communities that suffered at the hands of the colonial security apparatus for possible compensation. Possible, mark that. High Commissioner Neil Wigan has said. Now, in an exclusive interview, basically that is what the historic visit of King Charles, the diplomat said his country was ready to engage those affected during the war that saw many locals killed. This has been the topic of discussion. Remember, the king was in the country and left a few days ago. Now, we didn't really see any very significant boost in terms of our economy during his visit, or rather tour in the country. It seems that a lot was discussed maybe in boardrooms. Now we're also waiting to see exactly how are we benefiting from his visit. Remember, that was his first visit to a Commonwealth country and also an African state. Now, 9 counties record surge in new HIV cases. 9 counties have recorded a surge in HIV prevalence, posing a threat to push to attain zero infections by 2027. A state agency has revealed the National Syndemic Diseases Control Council has flagged Homa Bay, Siaya, Kisumu, Migori, Kisii, Mombasa, Samburu, Vihiga and Uasin Gishu as the most affected counties in its latest report. 17,680 according to the numbers you can see right there on your screens. Out of the 17,680 new HIV infections among adults, 41% are aged between 25 and 34, meaning those are just youth who are highly affected. 41% is quite significant when you take a look on that number right there. Now, basically, that is it. Sweet victory, that is Kenya's Helen Obiri celebrates winning the New York City Marathon yesterday. That was on Sunday. Her compatriot and defending champion Sharon Lokedi was third. Congratulations to our Kenyan athlete right there, Helen Obiri, for the good job she's been putting forth and making sure our country's flag continue being flied in different parts of the world. Now, big names miss out as MP Nyoro tops new ranking. Basically, what we shall be taking a look on that later on, discussing in details some of the reasons as to why members of parliament stand out, and especially Ndindi Nyoro. This is not the first time. This is basically a tradition. What makes him top, and also not only this year, also if you take a look on last year's ranking, still Ndindi Nyoro was on top. Now, we are good. DP Gachagua dismisses talks of fallout with Ruto, basically what was ongoing a few weeks ago. Now, endorsement, Azimio MPs back Kalonzo for 2027 polls. A section of Azimio members of parliament have rallied behind Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka to fly the coalition's flag in 2027 battle with President William Ruto. 8 legislators drawn from ODM, Jubilee and Wiper on Saturday drummed up support for the former vice president, whom they termed the best bet to unseat, or rather the best bet to unseat President William Ruto. Basically, that was during fundraising right here in Nairobi. Now, justice served. Man 70 gets his land after 10-year battle with 2 state agencies. Now, as Brek Salam Hamed 70 slowly descends the steps at the Mombasa Law Courts, basically describing his frail body had to be supported. It was hard to tell whether it was euphoria, hope, or mixed of all that seemed to give him a spring in his step. It shows that our judicial system is still active, and it's encouraging to see that after 10 years, the old man now has everything to smile about. Basically, our dailies, we shall be taking a look on a few of the stories highlighted right here later on during our discussion of the state of the nation, some of the major events that happened during the week. Don't go too far. We shall be back in a couple of minutes.
watching EBN TV, transforming your world.
Through the morning rush and the buzz, find a voice you can trust, a voice of reason, a voice of direction, and a voice of hope.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Live. I'm Cynthia Nanjala.
And I'm Samia Dika. Rise and shine, folks. We hope you are ready for an energizing start to your day.
Absolutely. We are here to bring you the latest headlines and trending news stories from the world of politics,
business and finance, health and lifestyle,
agriculture and sports.
So grab your coffee, sit back and get ready for a fantastic morning of engaging discussions and news segments.
Join us through our social media handles, #The Morning Live. This is Morning Live, exclusively on EBN TV.
Walisema mnywa maji kwa mkono mmoja,
kiu yake pale pale. Ndiposa tumekuletea wewe mtazamaji wetu
mkono mwingine ili kukata kiu yako na ari yako ya ufahamu.
Naam, ngoma imechezwa mtazamaji, basi hatuna budi kulisakata kukuletea wewe ufahamu wa kaunti yako,
tukiangazia masuala ya siasa na uongozi,
jamii na itikadi,
maendeleo na changamoto katika kaunti yako. Ungana nami Belinda William,
nami Emmanuel Marwa
kwenye makala ya Gatuzi Langu kila siku ya Jumatatu saa 5:30 hadi saa 6:30.
In a fast-paced world filled with distractions, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters: your relationship with God. Every Tuesday and Thursday, we take you on a transformative journey of building your faith, without which it's impossible to please God. A journey of introspection and discovery of who you are in Christ Jesus.
For you to walk with God, you should not crumble when you come under pressure. Kama umeokoka, sema umeokoka mpaka mbele ya president, mpaka mbele ya chief justice, mpaka mbele ya kila mtu. Hiyo ndio kuokoka ya ukweli. Kuokoka ya ukweli.
Enjoy a faith-filled environment of worship and ministry of the word every Tuesday and Thursdays from 9 a.m. with Reverend Felix Kevoy, exclusively on EBN TV.
The word of the Lord today.
Watching EBN TV, transforming your world.
In a fast-paced world filled with distractions, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters: your relationship with God. Every Tuesday and Thursday, we take you on a transformative journey of building your faith, without which it's impossible to please God. A journey of introspection and discovery of who you are in Christ Jesus.
For you to walk with God, you should not not crumble when you come under pressure. Kama umeokoka, sema umeokoka mpaka mbele ya president, mpaka mbele ya chief justice, mpaka mbele ya kila mtu. Hiyo ndio kuokoka ya ukweli. Kuokoka ya ukweli.
Enjoy a faith-filled environment of worship and ministry of the word every Tuesday and Thursdays from 9 a.m. with Reverend Felix Kevoy, exclusively on EBN TV.
The word of the Lord today.
Now, welcome back to the Morning Live as we take a look on today's the state of the nation. Actually, the weekend has been long, and now we are back. We do want to take a look on some of the issues that are ongoing in the country. And a quick one, remember that we are experiencing floods, heavy rains and floods in different parts of the country. We have Mombasa County, Meru County was greatly affected last week, killing one person. Now we also have the northeastern part of the country, which now leaders are calling on the national government to come in and help them. Now joining me this morning is Muito Muregi. Many thanks for coming through today. Now let's start from here. The Brains are here with us, and Ukambani people are very happy, especially with what is ongoing. But we had the El Nino issue earlier on, and counties were told prepare adequately. Then after a few days later on, after we did not see the rains coming in early October, now President William Ruto even himself said we shall be having rains, but not to the extent of El Nino. And we saw different people lowering their guard on this. Now northeastern part of the country, they're now calling for help. What is it exactly? Is it that they did not use the funds properly, they did not have the funds, or they did not have enough funds?
Well, good morning viewers. My name is Muito Muregi and I'm so grateful. Thank you, Adika, for inviting me today. Before we get into that one, I wish to express my sincere condolences to the Church of Jesus Christ, the entire Church of Jesus Christ, for the big loss of the Apostle Dr. Jokayo. He's a man who has ministered been a minister of the gospel for the last 66 years, and he went to be with the Lord last week on Thursday. And so he is also the pioneer of Pentecostalism, revival in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Zimbabwe, many other countries. And he's a man who has accomplished his mission as was accorded to him by his master. And I believe he's enjoying himself. Special condolences to the family. And I do believe the whole nation. Remember, this is one man that even His Excellency the President went to seek for his blessings before the day he was, what do you say, kutawazwa. He had to seek for spiritual covering. And the man he went to is the Apostle Dr. Jokayo. He's a spiritual father. And he's also my father. Fellowship in his church congregation, Christian Family Church, Shalumo YMCA. And so we suffer a big loss. But in our congregation, we are celebrating because one, it's sorrow mixed with joy. Of course, we miss him, but at the same time, we also know the impact he has on each and everyone's life. Secondly, we wish to congratulate Helen Obiri for putting Kenya again on the map, global map, because every week we're always having something, some Kenyan is doing something somewhere that is, notable. So, coming back to the floods, the other day I think we were trying to give the third side of the coin's perspective, because we always see what everybody else is saying. The paper is saying this, the TV is saying this, but what do we have to say about everything and anything that is happening? Concerning the floods, Floods are not, is not a preserve of the government, is not really something that is controlled by any government. Or rains, or even sunshine, or even darkness, or separation of darkness and day, day and night. So these are things which are natural phenomena. So we just allow them to go the way God allows them to be. We had prepared slightly on how to, deal or mitigate the impact of the floods, the El Nino, if it comes around. And somehow we were seated here when we were saying, if God pushes the tides, the winds that push the rains to another direction, why would we complain because of 10 billion shillings? Kenyans complained on social media because of 10 billion shillings, which was only meant to, take care of, the pre-effects, the pre-effects of El Nino, not the aftermath of El Nino. Aftermath will actually cost us more. This is what now people are crying about. But when we are telling them, excuse me, any national disaster in the country is announced by the president. That is the final person to announce it. So if there is anything like denouncing it, it will be done by the president himself. That's the office that says now it's no longer a disaster. Okay? It's under control. Even if the ministry relevant has every detail, the declaration is done by the president. So he said it, and he said it as he was advised. So why go for the neck of the president? The president is not in the meteorological department right there at Dagoretti. No, the people who are advising him. The Ministry of Environment is also doing what it has to do. And if our equipments are not capable to give us accurate information, I think it is for the ministry to make these demands from the national budget so that they can get adequate, they can get equipments that are appropriate to give us accurate details. Much of that spoken. Kenyans complained. The president has turned away. He's a way of swindling Kenyans, 10 billion shillings, blah, blah, blah. Many things were spoken, and may God grant the president enough strength, wisdom, divine wisdom, and also and power to contain all that is spoken. El Nino, we said, if it comes, is it a disaster or is it a celebration that we are calling for? Of course, we say it's a disaster. So why are we complaining when we call for the disaster? By all means, we try to say, hey, El Nino money, 10 billion shillings. Okay, now El Nino has come. 10 billion shillings will be spent. One, it does not include redoing the roads, recarpeting and everything, because potholes will come around. Until the Chinese technology was applied where they were using some sort of surface that does not allow potholes to come in easy, using clay, mud and everything, and cement and something they were calling concrete. The ones who are using the hardcores, and you're using it on black cotton soil, what it does is that when it soaks, it constricts. When it dries up, it causes cracks. You've seen this in Nairobi. Yeah. When it's dry, it causes cracks. So that movement is the one that causes the sinking, because the weight is still applied on them by the vehicles. So we will do a lot of repair, because most of the roads were done like that. So we'll do a lot of repairs. That is what Kenyans are calling for. And we are still complaining about high taxation. So where do you expect the money, the government to get this money from? And we are still saying the government is not supposed to borrow. See? Sometimes Kenyans ought to sit back and think. We are praying that God takes it away, the El Nino, or reduces the rain for Kenya, because we are also there, those of us who are saying we need the rains, but not disastrous rains, of course.
Definitely.
And if it has to come, because I was listening to some scientists talking about the wind that is pushing El Nino, especially in Europe and parts of North Africa, traveling at a speed of 200 kilometers per hour. So you can imagine the force.
Yeah, definitely.
And Kenyans thought that it's like a swimming pool coming around. We had seen El Nino in 2007, and it's not something like that we would like. You heard what the Northeastern province was saying, governors, that it's nothing to compare with what they experienced. The kind of, the magnitude, the amount of floods they're experiencing today is not comparable to what they experienced in 2007, 1997. 1997. So I think it's another call now for Kenyans. Please sit back, repent when you can, ask God to help that this rain goes down.
Yes.
Because the aftermath, the results after this thing is not going to be appeasing. Yeah.
Now, a quick one on matters cost of living. I can see your colleagues, analysts, but now these are economy experts say that President William Ruto's approach to taxation and cost of living, and also all those policies will only sink the country deeper in and push many to avoid paying taxes. As some of these tax policies is trying to introduce, which will ultimately make life unbearable. And an interesting one right here, as they put it. Now, raising taxes and cutting down on spending often slows down economic recovery by reducing household spending. Yes. Now, also many will start avoiding paying taxes. That is what economic experts are saying.
Yeah.
But then President William Ruto has been saying the reason as to why we raise taxes is to make sure, number one, we have debts to cover. We also want to make sure that we have economic recovery. But now experts say that is not the best approach.
Yes.
You need to consider those taxation measures, making sure that people are encouraged to give tax, and also making sure we are back on track.
Yeah.
Yes. What will be your take on that?
First of all, experts have been there, they will be there, and they are there. And some of the experts who spoke advised Kenyatta's government on how to run this government to success. But it is that time that we experienced the highest borrowing from 4.9 trillion to, I think, almost 11 trillion. Okay? They were still there. Why they were quiet, or why their advice was not so as vocal, I don't understand. It could be political, but we like it when they say what they have to say. Some things they say are eye-opening. They allow us to see things differently. But ultimately, when somebody inherits a government that requires a lot to be done and demands for money for everything to be met as expected, I think taking it to the level of our understanding, I would just view it from a family that has nothing in the shelf. What you do, you don't go straight into saying, hey, I think we always used to have swimming and outing every Saturday. We used to go out every Sunday and enjoy pizza and everything. You know, it's time you begin to take ugali for breakfast. It's time to fasten our belts. It's time to begin to do something we call prioritizing. It's not what I'm seeing the experts talking about, because it's not about the government. It's about the people. And the people are not defined as people simply because they belong to a government or they have a government in place that is all Kenyans. They are people because they are in a family setting. They are people because they are in an individual life setting. So when I am in a crisis as an individual, first thing I do is cut down on costs. I cut down on borrowing. Usichukue maziwa pale ya kukopa, nushukisha, wacha kuchukua ya 100. Sasa nunua ya 30. It's the one that is affordable. Don't borrow. Don't take it on credit. Because how we used to pay up is not now possible. So what do? Cut down on cost. Cutting down on cost means reduce on our consumption. That is the kind of advice that we'll be getting from these experts. But the blame game is the one that is taking place. We are seeing this, and I'm still waiting even to hear what what was brought up before the committee.
National Dialogue.
The National Dialogue Committee. I'm waiting to see, because I believe the ministry under the CS also has some investigation to do. And I saw how candid he was when he said, we haven't seen this, but we are looking into it. I'm waiting to hear him give his speech on this, and maybe explaining what really is going on. That one I think we'll have to wait. Let Professor Ndumu also give his bit as the head of the department, because I wouldn't like it, because when I looked at whatever was being presented, I think it was politically arranged, but that's my speculation.
Yes.
That's my speculation. I have reasons why I saw that from my analysis, but I would say, to me, I didn't see it as an idea, but I think it was more political. But let's wait. Could be true, And if it saves Kenya, then we are good.
Now we do, still on matters national dialogue committee right there. Today they will be meeting different individuals, especially Njuguna Ndung'u, the CS of finance and all that.
Yeah.
Now he is expected to at least advise, alongside other experts, to advise the National Dialogue Committee before they conclude specifically on matters reducing the cost of living that has been actually the center stage, if we might put it that way, among some of the top issues that they needed to address. Now, Kalonzo Musyoka is saying that today they will be having that sit-up together and to try to look at possible ways of reducing the cost of living. But then, aside that, we also have the issue to do with formulating the Electoral Commission that was IEBC specifically. And if you take a look on today's IEBC reforms versus right of representation, right there, 6 pictures, the standard, if it can be rolled on your screen right there. If you can see it on your screen in a bit, IEBC reforms versus right of representation, the standard, if it can be pulled up. Now you can take a look, 6 MCS, or rather 6 wards, need new guys right there, as you can see on your screens. We have MP Kulo Hassan Malim, who needs to be replaced. That is Banisa, Member of Parliament under the UDA party. Then we also have Constantine Shungula from Taita Taveta. It is also a vacant seat. Dennis Kebaso, that is Nyansiongo, Member of County Assembly. He lost petition. Now we also have Gideon Kavu, August 20, 2023. Machakos Mumbuni, North, Member of County Assembly. He passed on. And we have Stephen Maloba and also Elijah Osimo. These are some of the vacant seats that people need to participate in elections. And remember, right now we don't have a fully
constituted IEBC.
Now, will the Kalonzo team find a way of helping these guys by reconstituting IEBC, and how long is it likely to take? Because some of these areas need an immediate.
I think to balance it, to make it a bipartisan thing, I think I'll call it Kalonzo Ichung'wah team.
Yes.
Well, it's unfortunate that there are some areas that are not represented, and there's a lot that is missed, because when you talk about an MP, a constituency not having an MP, it means that the NGCDF is stalled. So we wish that they would put the act together and deal with the IEBC. Other than this humongous thing they're trying to take on, especially Kalonzo Musyoka is looking into, dealing with cost of living. But he's not saying how. He's only mentioning cost of living. But I want to see what exactly does he expect us to do? Does he expect the country to do? That is the people plus the government itself in place to do? Because these are you don't criticize without giving a solution. So we're waiting to see what Professor Ndung'u is going to present. While at the same time now, the IEBC reforms, we expect this thing. I think the unfortunate bit is that the IEBC this time might be formed to the whims of Kenya Kwanza and Azimio. Which is not right, because there are other groups of people who are represented by other political parties who are not represented as still as Kenyan citizens. I think the mode of appointment should change. Maybe they should be appointed and vetted and apply for these positions, and but I think when that political thing is brought in, because we saw what the Cherera 4 and the other 4 did to the country last year. However, we wouldn't like that to come around, because like I explained to you a few months ago, a month or 2 months ago, that the IEBC itself, since the day of Kivwito, the political party that felt that it had been, deprived of its victory or something in 2007, they brought in somebody, and really campaigned for that guy. I think it was Isaac Hassan. And towards 2012, Isaac Hassan began to operate not from the whims of the ones who put him there, and again he began to become an enemy. Especially after the elections, he was a real enemy to the opposition when the opposition lost, and that is then ODM. Come 2015, Chebukati took over, I think 2015, and he steered all the way to the 2022 elections. We saw what happened in 2018. Further adjustments were done. I've made complaints by the then opposition, ODM, through their leader, Raila Odinga. And reforms were actually made mandatory. And they worked well towards 2022 elections, because you saw some certain level of transparency as elections were continuing. You know, accessing the portal was a big deal. Definitely. And not many countries access the portal of the electoral body or electoral process in their countries. But in Kenya, we did it, you know. And I'm not talking about other African countries, I'm talking even countries of the West. Yeah, because it was a lot more transparent than what happens even in the US itself. US is not as democratic, because, you know, the fate of the Americans lies on the 536 members of the electoral college. Yes. You know, and you saw how it worked, especially when Hillary Clinton had the majority, but she had to lose because the college has decided otherwise. So what we're trying to say is that ours was a bit transparent. We were able to see bit by bit. We post and we see it. So I think that's a plus. And also those who complained about the transparency, it is for the good of Kenyans. So congratulations to the then opposition. The worst bit the opposition has played this time around is having too many riots and chaos since the beginning of the new era, new leadership, new regime. And I think it has stalled even development of many areas. It has also stalled, shelved the electoral process of such areas, because there have been complaints about the IEBC, the 4 individuals, Cherera 4. And I think it is time that we reconstitute the IEBC, not for the sake of a few individuals, but for the sake of the Kenyans who are represented in these zones. So, having brought it that far, I think it is important that this becomes a priority for Kalonzo Musyoka. Seeing it from that perspective, not from the Azimio Kenya Kwanza perspective, is from the Kenyan perspective. That would make a lot of sense. Okay. Cost of living, I think before they even demand for opinions of the experts, they should also tell us what they think, because they've been complaining and they've been talking about it in the streets. Kenya Kwanza talking about it, Azimio talking about it. What have they told us, except a very, very, common statement that almost becomes a cliche. Everybody now knows there's something called cost of living, but what is cost of living? You know, so I think we need to get away from that one. Let's wait and hear what experts are going to say vis-a-vis what Professor Njuguna Ndung'u is about to present before the committee. And I believe he's also going to address what was brought about by the control of budget.
Yes, before climbing the ladder to the national politics, Meru, they're expecting the governor, that is Kawira Mwangaza, will be facing the Senate this week, starting tomorrow and Wednesday.
Yes.
And this time round, it is not only a committee that will be taking a look on her case, it will be the entire Senate. And many are saying that Kawira Mwangaza, that is Meru leaders, a section of them, actually, the women are also split. It is now a matter of who I support.
Yeah.
And we've seen a section of them coming out saying that it is an issue in Meru County in terms of women leadership. That is what a section of them are putting it to be. But others are also saying that Meru County, Kawira Mwangaza has failed. Yes. And it's not about women leadership. We are removing her because she is incompetent. basically the ongoing talks right there. And many are also saying that this time round, she's not likely to survive. From where you sit, what are some of the possibilities or some of the issues that will make her survive this time round?
Well, if the Senate, of course Senate is political, but if it does not politicize this whole thing, it will not be to the advantage of the people of Meru.
Yes.
We have the cultural connotation, which actually beleaguers leadership of women in Meru County because of the cultural mentality that is there. If this is brought to the light, then that would make a lot of sense. If the enduring Cheke complaining is really true that Mithika Linturi, a former contestant against Kawira Mwangaza, is the chairman, then you'd see there's something sinister. If Kiraitu Murungi is also another man who was flawed by beaten by Kawira Mwangaza in last elections, then you can see the rage, you can see the animosity. Mithika Linturi has been rewarded by the president. He's given a CS post. So let's fight for Kiraitu Murungi to become. We Meru people, maybe this is what we would like, to have a man in leadership. Yes. And I told you, the day you'll hear the women begin to speak for their rights, politicians fear the voice of women. Why? Because women votes are always larger in number compared to men votes. And women votes are certain. You must get them if they promise you, than the men. The men, why they lose is towards elections, most of the people who are not even armed with an ID, let alone a voter's card or registered as a voter, are young men. You get the point?
Yes.
But they are the campaigners, but not voters. Young men fail in this regard. They are many amongst the youth, but the problem is that most of them are the ones who are caught without the vote. So the politicians themselves are very careful on the ground. Even Kiraitu Murungi knows the day the women will speak, it becomes a problem. Because one, you will not be able, if they come out with what they're bringing out as the cultural connotation. I'm telling you, they may ignore the cultural connotation. Yes. But if they bring the culture thing, and I told you certain communities which I mentioned here that still hold this dearly, and what the Kikuyus are trying to bring back also, you know, I think this is what will actually act in favor of Kawira Mwangaza at the plenary. Is UDA ready to have one of its governors dropped because of some reason? I don't think so. And who are the majority in the Senate? So it might be a big talk in the Senate debates. Whoever wants to, mount Kawira Mwangaza, whoever wants to grill Kawira Mwangaza, whoever wants to crush Kawira Mwangaza, they will try it at the plenary. But I believe they will come in defense. One, because of the party, their party policy. Support one another. Stand with one another. Defend the name of our party. So UDA and Kenya Kwanza Brigade will pretend to be grilling Kawira Mwangaza, but at the vote time they will vote no. So Kawira Mwangaza will be back, and I tell you, once she's back, the sympathy vote will be now the campaign platform of her cronies, and those are the women. They will begin to say Muna tufinyilia. Now the women right will begin to take part in that, take effect in that area.
Yes.
Yeah. But I don't see her losing. Don't see her losing.
We've seen FIDA now saying that we want to offer Meru, they want to offer Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza free legal representation at her Senate hearing. Also waiting to see if she will take that. Now, if the matter escalates to the courts, she will be represented by the legal organization. FIDA is ready. Yeah. And according to the chairperson of FIDA, Nancy Kinu, FIDA was ready to represent Mwangaza, whose impeachment hearing is expected at the Senate this week. And also some of the women leaders in the country, including Nyeri woman representative Rahab Mukami, Githunguri MP, Gathoni wa Mushomba, Suba North MP Millie Odhiambo, and Narok woman representative Rebecca Tonkei, and also the other day Machakos governor Wavinya Ndeti also came out to say that it is not good, it is not fair.
Yeah.
You cannot impeach Mwangaza 2 times.
You cannot impeach Mwangaza 2 times. And the first impeachment was actually instigated the second month after election. She hadn't even completed constituting her working team. She hadn't constituted her own county government. So
yeah, and you know, an interesting one.
It's ridiculous.
An interesting one that many were discussing, that she is using the government car, or rather her official car, to carry her husband.
Look at
many someone was giving me an example of President William Ruto.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I mean, look at the stupidity of presenting that as a reason. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua rides with his wife Dorcas Gachagua in that limo. President William Ruto rides with his wife Rachel in the same limo. Why don't you have a problem? Governors ride with their wives in their limo. What's the problem? I think men are becoming jealous. I think Kawira Mwangaza is just a lovely wife. She's a lovely wife. I mean, she's just there, and she knows. Yeah, I'm not second fiddle, the fact that I'm riding on the right side of her vehicle. No, this is official. She's working, you know, but she doesn't cease to be my husband. If we have not complained about governors' wives' kitty, money set aside by counties for their wives, by the men. So why are they complaining? Because they know that there is something that would be set aside for the man to work around with. So if they despise the man because he played the guitar, you know, it just shows how these people have no respect to the men. That guy is even higher compared to the men who voted for them. People like us who are small, you know, poorer, you know, and have no name. Imagine we voted for them, but they're despising people who have a bigger name than ours, like the husband to Kawira Mwangaza, and they're despising them. They're despising him. So it means, what's the opposition in their minds, at the back of their mind here? These are people who are arrogant. These are people who are, what do I say, disdainful. They're contemptuous. They disregard the rights of people as equals. So when this man is about to benefit from his effort, because had he not encouraged his wife to go for the seat and to do the things she was doing pre-election time, I think it is time that they allow the man to reap the fruits. Yeah, he should even have a salary. Wawache mchezo. Just the way the county women, if my wife gets that kind of a position, I mean, why wouldn't I be there to support her agenda? Because if I would come up with something as a husband that would help the people of Nyeri County, for instance, or Nairobi County, where I am right now, if I come up with something that would help them, then it is for the benefit of the citizens. Yes. You get the point? So I think it's just jealousy running around men. I didn't know it exists in that level, but I don't have it. I think it's the men who are offended are the ones who are having a problem. But whatever they're complaining about is what they've been doing.
Yes. Now, would this be a scheme of making sure that Kawira Mwangaza's development agenda isn't fully realized, so that they have a reason?
Absolutely. That is what they want. They want Kawira Mwangaza not to perform, because in her pre-election campaign and track record, that is what catapulted her to that position. They loved her because she had endeared herself to them with their needs, and she was able to identify with them and settle some of these needs, I mean, without the needful resources from the government. Now she has the resources. It scares them. Scares them.
She will perform.
She will perform.
Interesting.
She will perform.
Now we are waiting
and
to see.
And once she gets out of this, I tell you, it's a walkover. 2027.
She might.
If she gets a very good strategic campaign committee team, that is not of many people, 4 people or 5, that would be good for her to advise her all the way to 2025.
Yes.
27, yeah.
To allow her get the seat back. But once she's impeached, then she will now have either to move to court and also justify all those 7 issues raised against her, to allow her vie for any other political seat.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if the court, if they impeach her politically in the Senate, the court is not political.
Yes.
It's legal. So they will have to lay their facts.
Yeah.
Right here, and the court has the power to overturn what the Senate says. You know, through the court and ultimately via the Supreme Court, because an interpretation will be given. But I think it was too early.
Yeah.
If they are segueing what had started in the second month and now coming to this second impeachment,
yes,
I think it's not going to have to hold much water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now DP Gachagua is back and was back actually a few days ago.
Yeah.
And now they have been in coast. Yesterday he was in Kiambu County during a church service, and he said he is no longer focusing on the issue to do with the kingship. That is not my aim. My aim is uniting the people from Mount Kenya region. Yeah. It is not about the politics we've been hearing around, and also there's no fallout between him and his boss, President William Ruto. Very interesting twist of events. Remember earlier on we saw that a few of them were focusing on shifting the mantle of kingpin.
Yeah.
Mount Kenya kingpin from President William Ruto, former President Uhuru Kenyatta, to the now Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. And Gachagua is now saying, that is not my focus. My focus is uniting the people. Flip the coin. Gachagua is being considered actually the top leader from the Mount Kenya region. He is actually the top leader. Now, what would be the position of the likes of people who are pushing Uhuru Kenyatta to bring this thing back?
You know, like we always say, if you gain by the sword, you lose by the sword. When Uhuru Kenyatta became the president of the Republic of Kenya, at what point did he receive the mantle handed over to him by the former president Mwai Kibaki, who was still alive? If that is what we are to go by.
Yes.
Okay? At what point? In what ceremony? It didn't happen.
Yes.
So how do you expect it to work for you differently? This is how it works in Mount Kenya. There was a team during elections called Kieleweke, which was the President Kibaki, President Uhuru's supporters for Azimio. And the Kieleweke side believed they have it by all means, by hood and crook, they will get it. And the Tanga side were here crisscrossing, churches, meeting congregants, and every opportunity they got that they would speak to the people and solve the agenda. Eventually, they got they actually won the elections in 2022. What has never dawned on the Kieleweke side is that they are living in denial. That, hey, and like I said, if Uhuru did not receive it from Kibaki, then why does he expect to hand over? What is he handing over if he never received? You get my point? So that's the Mount Kenya politics that is trying to be created. And who's talking about it? Jeremiah Kioni, that is Azimio, Martha Karua, it's another loser, in the elections. These are the people who are very vocal on this, okay? And many others who are in that section of Jubilee Party that supports former President Uhuru Kenyatta, and now this breakaway thing, Kanini Kega. They have a different opinion over this whole thing. Once you have taken leadership, once you have been able to marshal support of whatever sort, you become the kingpin. It's automatic.
Yes.
How does Raila Odinga survive as the Luo kingpin? He's able to marshal them and put them in one basket. How does Kalonzo Musyoka survive? Of course, last time he lost a sizable chunk of, following, and he still is working on becoming the kingpin. You've seen meetings taking place, rallies everywhere, talking about, hey, this time around we must, gang around Kalonzo Musyoka. It's the same thing that would be happening even in Mount Kenya. So what makes it so unique? It's the same thing happening with Raila Odinga. We still believe he's not very old for that position. I mean, talk to people from Nyanza, they'll tell you. We still believe
78.
He's not as old as Biden, who is 86. I mean, all these things come around because the kingpin thing is there. However, there was a misrepresentation by His Excellency the President. We forgive him. He made us feel like we are a province of England, declaring King Charles III of England, not of Kenya, the king among the kingpins. It didn't sound well, and it doesn't sound well. We are talking about emancipating our minds from the shackles the British have bound us with, the constitutional system, the judicial system, the governance system. And then we are here hailing the Commonwealth thing, and we're still talking about Pan-Africanism. I think that is something that he needs to get straight, because we're in support of Pan-Africanism, which is also part of the championing team. But Commonwealth, I think we should be planning our way out, the exit. Now, look at the parody of it. The ambassador. What's the job group of an ambassador? Okay. Okay, let's assume. As a civil servant.
In our country,
he is now telling our government to look out for him and discuss reparation for the people who suffered. Things that were supposed to be addressed by the ones who commissioned that thing to take place. That is the Buckingham Palace. And who's the leader? King Charles. He was here. Why didn't he give the apology? So the reparations and everything, who was supposed to address them? He was the one who was supposed to come, give an apology, and if he was to form a team, British team, that was supposed to deal with the country's government, he was supposed to form it. But now when we're insulted by an embassy, by an envoy, it becomes a sheer insult. I think that I don't think even Deputy President Gachagua will represent Mau Mau's to sit down with an envoy on this one. There's a lot that was going on in Nanyuki, which would have expected the king to address. However, there's too much of nothing for the Kenyans that went around, except bloom and bliss. But I think this was not what we expected as Kenyans. We expected to hear much more about Turkana Oil, where Talo Oil Company is, exploring. And I think we would be complaining even about historical injustices of the theory of evolution and Zinjanthropus, so that we don't dig oil, because there are guys who excavated and knew there was the wealth of oil. Even water itself, Governor Nanok went only 600 feet and found fresh water. 600 feet. While in Nairobi, we are going almost 3,000, because 1,800 feet is salty water. So you can imagine the wealth that is tucked in, that is hidden in areas like Turkana and northeastern Kenya. You saw what the Israelis did with these semi-arid areas, in terms of agriculture. I think it is time that the government takes a stand. And this mental bondage, we should get emancipated right from the top, that is from the president, all the way to the smallest citizen, that is me. We need to emancipate ourselves from those shackles. I didn't enjoy the presence of the King of England.
Yes,
but that is all that had to be spoken about the King of England. Yeah,
you didn't enjoy.
He came and went. No, I didn't enjoy it.
Is there anything positive from his visit that you think we might have benefited?
Actually, I think in some project that I think education. He gave 800, is it 800 million? Yeah, I think it's a pledge for 800 million. It's a program that is supposed, that has sunken billions and is expected to spend more billions on it to be successful. So, yes, we say whatever little you receive from somebody, we always appreciate. But I think in a country you're indebted to, I think you should do even more. Yeah. should have done more. Yeah. Visiting Kayole, giving a few millions to a certain project, I mean, yeah, that was the work of the envoy. He would have done that so easy. Yeah. But creating a story, I mean, in our dailies that he visited Kayole, that's or any other area, it's people living there, Kenyan citizens, respectable. They may not have much with them, but they are respectable people. It's not a zoo, it's a place where we have people, and I think it's not history. If you go to a place where you have never been and or people don't go to, I mean, that would be history. But when you go to a place where people are living, then I think that would, if I hype that, is like hyping that the first person to climb Mount Kenya was John Speak, I don't know, Fred Speak or whoever, or Rudolph, traveled along Lake Turkana. I mean, there were Turkanas who were drinking that water and fishing and, feeding the livestock before they came.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think we should get out of that one. We should get out of that mentality.
A quick one, taking a look on this. We have young MPs right here who have come out, according to the InfoTrack research.
Yeah.
Dindi Nyoro, quite young.
Yeah.
We have Gembe South, John Paul Mwirigi. We also have Peter Salasia.
Yeah.
And also have Mwala, Member of Parliament, Vincent Musyoka.
Yeah.
Okay, they are quite few, but they're doing an amazing job according to what voters say.
Yeah.
To InfoTrack. Now, what is it unique that makes these young guys do amazing job and also stand out, considering that the politics, like Peter Salasia, he comes from Mumias East.
Yeah, he was
and Wetangula was there. We also had Mudavadi.
Yeah.
And they promised a lot, but still a new party, because he got into that position through DAP. And still he was able to marshal some good number of votes and took him there.
Yeah.
It's still a young new party, but he managed. What unique do you think, just an overview of what they're doing?
Well, quick one. First, the scientific method of doing this analysis has always been wrong. When you talk to 2,000 people, which means to represent 50 million people, when you talk to 2,000 people representing 349 constituencies, how many of those you've spoken to? Just divide by 349, then you might get what number they speak to. I have given opinions before to InfoTrack and also the then Steedman, that he's gotten an opportunity to sit down and answer questions. But I'll tell you, that's not enough. I have witnessed seeing them in restaurants filling up, certain results, wakikunywa chai, and still they will add up. And these things do happen. So it's never accurate. However, I'm not denying that these people could have done some work. But I'm looking at it from the list provided as the top guys, from which part of the political divide are they from? They are from Kenya Kwanza, majority of them. Why? While the Kenya Kwanza was sinking their money, or part of their money, NGCDF, into development of their constituencies, the other side was sinking their money into facilitating riots and chaos. They were busy. But those who are in the rural, like Akina Salasia, they would only participate, but from the periphery. Okay? But they knew that they had something they were supposed to do because they have a name to build. He still knew they had to build their names. So when you see these young people coming up, they have a name to build. But I think those who took advantage that there is a government, those who never lived in denial that there is a government in place, started working with the NGCDF that had been put in there, entrusted to them. Yes. So I think that is one of the failure that is there. That's the success of others. So I think if all MPs would say, because this is Kenya, that 100 million out of the 140 million will be accounted for appropriately, then I think there will be so much development in all these constituencies. And when I look at Dindi Nyoro, because I passed by his constituency on my way home, I can tell you it was quite a remote place, especially the times when Kenneth Matiba was the member of parliament. That's a long time ago, and it was split. Kiharo, I can tell you, it's something that experienced some change, significant change with Irungu Kangata when he was the MP while he was PA. And I believe what he picked from Irungu Kangata is what he's been doing. That's what keeps him at the top. Yes. So if we would emulate what he does, because I believe in his kitty, not less than 100 million is actually spent on the people of KRC. Yes. So if the 349 would say 100 million be sunk into development, and actual development, like what I'm seeing, Member of Parliament for Odaya, eradicating mud houses and shacks that are built that belong to some states, he is actually uplifting upgrading their life. Yes. This is what we would like to see. So, and many other places. So I think we would like to see our money expended and expended appropriately. Yes. Yeah.
Now remember, at exactly 11:30 a.m., Belinda William will be back with this specific discussion to do with Gatuzi Lango, basically what is ongoing at the Mashinani level, trying to help you understand exactly some of the members of parliament, governors, and also senators that have been performing and have been ranked as some of the best performing governors. Some of these counties, like Trans Nzoia County, West Pokot County, all of them were down there a few years ago when devolution was barely 5 years old. But now we are seeing great change. And also, truth be told, you go to Trans Nzoia County, even Elgeyo Marakwet County, go to West Pokot County, a lot has been done with devolution. She shall be having that conversation at exactly 11:30. Make sure you don't miss that. You can also go to our socials and make sure you engage with us right there. What would be your opinion? Since the inception of devolution 10 years ago, we've seen transformation, but also does it mean that governors are also bringing this great change right here in the country? Once again, my name is Sami Adika, and this is The Morning Live. Until next time, do have a wonderful day ahead.
Good.